So, good morning. My name is Jesus Afra.
Morning, my name is Mang Lee.
My name is Vivian Cole.
My name is Raymond Gilhari.
It has come to our attention that many within our country are very uneducated towards mental illness. So my group members and I would be very grateful if you were to enlighten us about the topic at hand.
My name is Stephanie Bradshaw. I live in Ladyville.
My name is Dunia Mendes.
His name is Liam. He is 4 years and 9 months. He'll be 5 in March.
My son is 19 years old.
How did you start to suspect that your child had ASD?
He will say I start to suspect ASD around before he was 2 years old. He up to that point he had met all of his developmental milestones except communication.
He completed 4 after the age of 4, and still he would not focus. He would not look at me when I call his name. I thought he was deaf.
I started to get concerned around the 18-month mark.
He did not talk.
At that age, they don't necessarily have words yet, but some children will already start to say mama, dada, baba.
All he would say is dad and juice.
Things like that. He wasn't doing that. And he also wasn't pointing. Children at that age point.
I noticed that he would scream when he would hear the fireworks.
And I was a first-time parent too, so I contacted Dr. Google. That's when I started to, up to that point, I didn't know anything about autism. That came on my radar because it said that, children who have a speech delay, that may be the issue, that they have autism.
That is when I started to suspect, that something was wrong.
Where was your child taken for a diagnosis?
In the medical community, it is accepted that a developmental pediatrician or a pediatric neurologist are the two who can diagnose autism spectrum disorder. We have neither of these professionals in Belize.
I told you he was diagnosed with Asperger's syndrome after when he was 10 years old. I contacted the pediatrician.
So I visited a pediatric neurologist in Merida.
Okay, someone like him will need medication. If he starts with the pill, he will need to take it for the rest of his life.
It was very difficult to get one because of his age. It was hard to tell, it's just a delay, he's meeting all his other milestones, is this really autism? So it was hard to get a diagnosis. So I got something called a provisional diagnosis, which was suspected autism.
Explain the experience of living with an autistic child.
From he was born, he was very sensitive to sounds. So my family and I, we always knew like we couldn't laugh loud around him. Like if we would all be talking, he's there and we would all burst out laughing. He would scream and like get really upset.
We never discussed grades at my house. My home, everybody passed. And every time they got their report card, we would go to the ceviche place because they love ceviche.
We started to have a lot of behavioral issues.
Climb trees, he would go on the playground or whatever, and he was never afraid of anything.
Because he could not communicate, he screamed. It's just like a little baby. A baby cries to get your attention because he can't tell you what he needs, so you have to try to figure it out.
So I said, once we have routines with him, he will learn to listen.
Obviously, I was very, very concerned whenever he was around other children, because it's not that he intentionally wanted to hurt someone, but he kept doing things like he's just not aware.
But she also said the only time that he would sit and write though is only after break, because break is the time that you run outside and you play and you use up your energy. So right after that, he can do the math.
He is actually hyperlexic. So that's a new word if you don't know it. People who have a special affinity to language. He struggles with speaking, but he taught himself to read before he was 3 years old.
He started to read from the blackboard. So I said, wow.
I didn't teach him to read. he taught himself to read. It's pretty amazing. And I didn't even realize he could read. So that's pretty cool.
Passing mark for PSE is 50. He passed with a 69. I was extremely happy.
What impact did having a child with autism have on you as a parent?
As I told you, in my teaching profession, I have learned to recognize that all kids can learn.
I grew up in a home that was very focused on education and furthering your goals and your dreams. Like, you need to get the A's. And if I had a neurotypical child, I feel like I would have been that person. And his diagnosis has forced me to be a different person. I am not concerned about those things anymore.
He did not know what was a failing grade until he got to standard 6.
You know, I am not concerned about him bringing home an A. I'm concerned about him growing and understanding language more. And
you know, it's about learning how you can help your students that really made my son succeed. Because they're so active, I needed to engage them in something that they would be interested in. And I will not compare him with any other child. I still, up to now, wherever I go or wherever I send my son to study, I tell people, this is who my son is. My son can learn, have patience with him, and we will be okay. I have learned a great deal with my son.
I think this is a great assignment. Definitely mental health on a whole needs more awareness and growth among the regions.
I'm an advocate now for all children who have a disability in the school.
Unfortunately, autism is still lacking in a lot of research. So you can find a lot of articles online, but it's still an area where globally there needs to be more research done.
Your nephew or your niece is not learning the way they should, they can always come to education office, because yes, we have an office in every district where you can refer them. And once you refer them, they get an assessment as to what is their weakness and how that weakness can be strengthened at school.
We need more awareness and education for everyone. And I feel like we can't break the stigma until we're all kind of on the same page.
And we just want to say we're really grateful to have you as a volunteer, since we can truly see your enthusiasm about the topic and how much you want to share what you know about this and how we can improve our community.